I was scrolling through Instagram when I saw the post. 30 minutes before the college admissions portal closed, Save Beaumont bragged she'd switched Ben Ashford's Ashford University application to Landon Technical College. I couldn't ignore it. I sprinted to Ben, told him, and we switched it back to Ashford with a minute left. The day Ben got his acceptance letter, Save scribbled a message in lipstick on a mirror, then jumped from the Grand Willow Hotel's rooftop. After graduation, Ben married me. During my postpartum recovery at the private birth center, he froze everything, then dumped Blair's death sauce straight into my eyes. I'll never forget the hatred that contorted his face as I died. Scarlett Whitmore, none of this would have happened if it weren't for you. Who gave you the right to rat on my application? I wanted her to change it. It's just a stupid school. Was a degree really worth her life? Ben's grip tightened. He dragged me, hemorrhaging and screaming, to my knees before Save's framed photo on the memorial table. We both bled out on the floor. Mother and child.
Dead.
I opened my eyes. Back to the day I saw that post. Didn't want to do long distance with my BF, so I took matters into my own hands and switched his Ashford app to a tech school. Surprise. I lower my gaze and close the app. This time, I'd watch the show burn without lifting a finger. Before closing the app, I scanned the comments. Holy shit, you're actually psychotic. Ashford to a community college? You're not a girlfriend. You're a curse. Hope you get struck by lightning. Most comments were harmless, at least. Last time, I recognized Save instantly. I hadn't even read the comments. I hadn't caught my breath. My knees, still bleeding from the fall, never got checked. I dragged Ben to the college admissions portal, beating the deadline by a hair. Ben had been pale, pissed. That's not funny, Save. I don't care if you're mad, but you don't mess with my future. Save burst into tears, shrieking. Ben Ashford, you don't love me anymore. You promised. Forever, no matter what. You liar. She shot me a glare sharp enough to cut glass. It's her. Scarlett Whitmore. She turned you against me. I'll kill myself then. You two can be happy together. She ran for the ledge. Ben caught her waist just in time. I didn't mean it like that. I was just scared. You're my girl. Why are you dragging Scarlett into this? He coaxed her.
Fine.
I'll visit every other week, even if it's long distance. Okay. They made up. I swallowed the bile rising in my throat and walked out, closing the door behind me. I didn't know Save had already decided I needed to die. The day our acceptance letters arrived at Ashford Manor, she jumped. A message written in lipstick on the mirror. Scarlett Whitmore, I hate you. You killed me. I turned white.
No.
Ben, I didn't do anything. Ben said nothing. He carefully folded the photo of the mirror. He was quiet for a long time. Then he looked at me, his voice empty. You shouldn't have seen that. It's not your fault. I thought it was over. It wasn't. Ben hated me for 6 years. After we graduated from Ashford, he married me. On the day I went into labor at the private birth center, he finally showed his teeth. He pinned me down, his breath searing my skin. Scarlett, I dream about her every night. She asks me why I haven't avenged her, why I sleep next to her murderer. I struggled, terrified. Ben, you've lost your mind. He didn't answer. He forced my head down toward the memorial table. Who asked you to stick your nose in this? He roared. I wanted her to change it. A degree isn't worth a life.
So yeah.
Second chance or not, I was done. Let them play their stupid games. Hey, Scarlett, you coming to the graduation party at Ashford Club tonight? Deck Harrington texted. Bring Ben too. I hesitated, then replied. I'll be there. But Ben's on his own. Deck kept teasing. Why isn't he your problem? You two grew up together. You're basically joined at the hip. And, didn't you guys promise to go to Ashford together? I laughed at myself and typed back quickly. He has a girlfriend now. Silence lingered for a few seconds. Then Deck replied. Save Beaumont? That rebel girl? They won't last. Ben Ashford is a top student. You're clearly a better match. You're meant to go to Ashford together. That girl will be lucky to get into Landon Tech. They aren't even in the same league. I curled my lips slightly, neither confirming nor denying it. My past life taught me that being in the same league didn't matter. What mattered was where Ben's loyalty lay. Clearly, whether in my past life or this one, Ben would only choose Save. In everyone else's eyes, she was just a troublemaker who hung out with sketchy crowds. But in Ben's eyes, she was a goddess. A once-in-a-lifetime star. Senior year, she wore a white sundress and a flower crown, holding up a poster board outside. Big letters. Ben Ashford, I love you. Straight-laced Ben had never been chased like that. Under Save's relentless offensives, he fell hard. To go on dates and see movies, he skipped countless study halls during senior year. I spent late making copies of study guides for him. Those notes were thrown into a bonfire in a bronze garden urn because of her choose me or her ultimatum. In 3 months, Ben dropped from top 20 to 136 in our class ranking. I was the one who informed Camilla Ashford. Every weekend, they locked him in Ashford Manor to force tutoring sessions. He managed to get a decent score on the mock exams because of that. Scarlett, you just want me to fulfill my promise and go to Ashford with you, right? I'll apply to Ashford, but on one condition. You stop obsessing over me. That's how Ben negotiated with me on application day. My eyes burned. Do you really think I forced you to study just so I could date you? Ben didn't know. After he agreed to date Save, I'd already given up. Pushing him to get into Ashford was just a deal I made with Camilla. I just didn't want to see Camilla break down over his stupidity. 2 hours before the graduation party at Ashford Club, I walked into Willow Creek Florist. Before I reached the door, someone slammed into me. Well, look who it is. My boyfriend's little rival. Can't stay away even after graduation? Desperate to be the other woman? I looked up into Save's malicious eyes. Her voice was loud, drawing a crowd of gawkers.
People pointed at me.
I'm just buying flowers for a classmate, I said. I turned to leave, but Save followed. Cut the act. I found that 5,000-word love letter you wrote him junior year. Acting smart, but you're just someone who knows how to chase guys. Rage boiled up inside me. I glanced instinctively at Ben. He was looking down, hiding a smirk. When he caught my angry stare, he half-heartedly grabbed Save's arm. Enough, babe. Didn't you want the best roses? Hurry up before they're gone. He stepped forward, deliberately leaning in to kiss her forehead right in front of me. And besides, who cares about some childhood friend? I only have eyes for you. I felt physically sick. I paid for the bouquet and left quickly. Ben called after me as I left. Don't be mad at Save, Scarlett. That's just how she is. She only overreacted because she heard we both applied to Ashford. She's just jealous. Don't take it personally. I paused, said nothing, and hailed a taxi. Halfway there, I took a detour to pick up another classmate, then headed to the Emerald Room at Ashford Club. By the time we arrived, a crowd had gathered at the entrance. As I walked in, I heard people shouting. I just saw that post today. I can't believe you did that. Save Beaumont. That's messed up. Mind your own business. Are you delusional? Save picked at her nails, blowing bubbles with her gum. Maybe worry about getting a boyfriend instead of my business. Look at those blemishes on your face. You really believe Ben Ashford would ever be interested? Kat Montgomery stomped her foot. Stop changing the subject. I'm talking about the post. Don't you get it? Your selfishness could ruin his whole life. Ben walked up. He chuckled, wrapping an arm around Save's waist. Really? Whose life am I ruining? Kat froze. She stared at the person she was defending, the guy who was now hugging the culprit. Her eyes turned red. Ben, do you even realize your girlfriend changed your... Shut up. Why is this any of your business? Save interrupted her harshly. You're just jealous that I, a loser, ended up with a top student boyfriend. Kat's eyes blazed with fury. Who's jealous of you? Obviously you. Another fight was about to start. Okay, that's enough. I spoke up from the sidelines. This is our last high school party. We should say goodbye properly. No point in fighting. Kat opened her mouth, tears welling up. Scarlett, you don't understand. Save Beaumont. I gently grabbed her wrist. Drop it. I shook my head at her. Who asked you to stick your nose in my business? Save sneered, shoving her shoulder into mine. I hate you the most, you pathetic shadow. Maybe you and the others planned this, waiting here to ambush me. Save rolled her eyes, wrapping her arm around Ben's. As she passed me, she deliberately stomped on my foot. Her heel ground down hard on my instep. Pain shot through me, and I sucked in a sharp breath. Ben noticed. He stopped walking. He glanced back at me, his expression flat. In the end, he said nothing and let Save drag him away. Kat pulled me into a corner seat. She leaned down, inspecting the red mark on my foot, trembling with anger. Are you blind? Ben is actually blind. I'd rather he ended up with you. At least you're his equal. Not some trash like Save. Kat used to be my rival. Just like the old me, she had a crush on Ben. Who wouldn't like a golden boy like him?
But people learn from their mistakes.
Once you're stupid enough, you get smart. I didn't respond. I set the bouquet on the table and rubbed my foot. Drop it. It's not worth it. And it's a party. Let's not ruin the mood. The rest of the class eventually showed up. The private room grew noisy. Midway through, people started playing Spin the Bottle.
The bottle pointed at me.
I chose truth or dare. Drink a cross-arm toast with any male classmate. Everyone looked back and forth between me and Ben. The golden couple of class 16 is right here. What's wrong with a toast? Do it. Do it. The chanting started. Someone drunk yelled, "They're the only two going to Ashford. You're obviously meant to be. Scarlett, if you don't choose Ben, who else is going to drink with you?" Ben sat still, watching me with detached indifference. People started urging him on. Ben Ashford, don't be a jerk. Don't leave Scarlett hanging. Save glared at me viciously. She leaned over and kissed Ben loudly on the cheek. Why don't you tell them? I'm his girlfriend. The room went dead silent. Ben looked at me, then wrapped his arm around Save's waist. Stop messing around. Can't you see? I have a girlfriend. Most people fell silent at the sight of Ben's face, but a few people kept pushing. What the hell, Ben? You've grown up together. There's nothing there? No way. I remember junior year, you two were always walking around the quad. Old man Carl Jennings tried to follow you once, and you told him to beat it. Said he was interrupting your alone time. Save did not like hearing that. She demanded Ben write an apology and a 5,000-word love letter. Seriously? Don't ruin the fun, someone complained. This is a graduation party, not a training camp for your pet. Are you really making our valedictorian write you a love letter? Are we even going to play games? Ben remained silent. He flagged down a waiter. Get me a pen. He actually wrote it. He declared to everyone, I have a girlfriend. Ben said it, staring straight at me. Scarlett, pick someone else for the toast. I'm taken. Everyone turned to me, with pitying looks. Save crossed her arms, chin high. Hear that? My boyfriend's sick of certain clingy girls. He's making it clear. Hope you've got some self-respect and take the hint. They all assumed I was humiliated. I just smiled faintly and rose, glass in hand, calm, dignified. Who said I was waiting for Ben? The room went silent. Even Ben, bent over his letter, stopped writing. He looked up, stunned. I walked with steady steps to the boy in the Ralph Lauren Oxford shirt. Deck, care to join me? Everyone gasped, hands flying to their mouths. Wait, are Scarlett and Deck a thing? Even Kat stared at me in shock. Deck's ears flushed crimson. He scratched his head, shy.
Sure.
We clinked, then I turned and walked back to my seat. Out of the corner of my eye, Ben's face went white. He slammed the pen down. He grabbed a glass of champagne and downed it in one go. Save frowned. It's not your turn. Why are you drinking? The next round started. This time, the bottle pointed at Ben. Before anyone could ask truth or dare, Ben stood up defiantly.
Dare.
I want to do a toast too. He pulled Save up. They finished their cross-arm toast under the spotlight of the entire room. Kat nudged me with her elbow. Scarlett, doesn't it seem like Ben is doing this to get back at you? Because you drank with Deck. No. I cut her off sharply. We were neighbors. That's it. No relationship, now or ever. Kat stared at me like I'd grown a second head. It wasn't unbelievable. I'd already paid with my life to learn exactly who Ben was. This time, I just wanted to stay far away. I zoned out for the rest of the party, barely touching my food, eyes fixed on the Cartier on my wrist. The second hand kept ticking. It struck 5 p.m. sharp. Then it advanced. The weight in my chest sank completely. It was officially too late. Suddenly, someone in the crowd shouted, "The college admissions portal is closed. Mr. Whitmore just sent a reminder in the class group chat on iMessage. It's official now. Anyone who hasn't submitted is screwed. No takebacks." Ben scoffed. "Didn't we submit days ago? Who'd be crazy enough to wait until the last minute?" The second he finished speaking, Kat looked back and forth between us, opening her mouth to speak. "Ben, it's you. Baby." Right then, Save stood up, smiling at Ben. "They say young love is precious. Today's the end of high school. I want to say something to you. In front of everyone." Ben glanced at me unintentionally, then quickly looked away. He smiled, gazing at her lovingly. "Go ahead." Encouraged, Save continued. "Didn't you say you loved me? That I'm your sunshine? That you'd move heaven and earth for me? I got you an unforgettable graduation gift." She tilted her head back, grinning brightly at him. "2 hours ago, I changed your application. You're going to land in tech with me, no more long distance. Isn't this perfect?" Save looked at him, her eyes twinkling with anticipation. She expected Ben to scoop her up and kiss her breathless. He'd skipped countless important study halls and mock exams for her. One word from her, and he'd blow off his responsibilities. So, what if it was a college application? He'd definitely go along with it. Ben stood there, stunned, unable to believe his ears. "What did you just say?" His face drained of color. He grabbed Save's hands, desperation etched on his face. "Tell me you're joking." Save was oblivious to the tension. She still smiled, leaning in to wrap her arms around his waist. "I changed your application.
You said you loved me."
"Long distance is tough. I don't want you to suffer." She pouted, her tone teasing. "Besides, Landon Tech is a university too. With your grades, you could get into any top school. I can't bear 4 years without you." The private room fell into an eerie silence. All you could hear was the hum of the AC. Everyone's eyes were glued to Ben. His lips trembled in disbelief. "You changed it? How did you even get my password?" Save rolled her eyes, exasperated. "Your birthday, obviously. It wasn't hard." So, Ben opened his mouth. He looked like he wanted to scream or cry, but nothing came out. He turned sharply, locking eyes with me. I sat calmly in the corner, sparkling cider in hand. He looked at me, and his eyes turned red. "Scarlett," he choked out my name, voice hoarse. "Did you know?" I remained silent, sipping my drink. The sour taste coated my tongue. Kat burst out, unable to contain herself. She leaped up from her seat. "Of course she knew. I tried to tell you hours ago, but your girlfriend stopped me." Tears welled in her eyes, voice trembling with emotion. "Ben, are you an idiot? Scarlett spent sleepless nights making study guides for you. She covered for you when you skipped class. When your ranking plummeted, she convinced your mom to keep you grounded and force you to study. She did everything for you. Even I, her rival, was moved. And you let others label her. You dismissed her when she faced online attacks. Now your application is gone and you're just fine with that." Ben froze. It was like a bucket of ice water had been dumped over his head. He pushed Save away and stormed over to me, backing me into a corner. He stared down at me, his eyes wild. "Scarlett, I'm only going to ask this once. Did you know?" "Yes." I looked up into his eyes and nodded. In an instant, Ben lunged. He grabbed my neck, his eyes bloodshot. "How could you be so heartless? You knew, and you didn't tell me." I could feel the tension rising. Deck rushed over first. "Ben Ashford, calm down." A few guys held him back, but he kept glaring at me, veins bulging in his neck. "Scarlett, you just wanted to watch me fall, didn't you? You looked down on me for dating Save. You set this trap just to watch me crash. If you cared at all, you would have told me when you saw that post." I watched him lose control, watched his humiliation morphing into rage. I stood perfectly still, then slowly raised my head. Did I owe you that explanation? Ben Ashford, I just have one question for you. Why should I? 3 simple words. They stopped Ben in his tracks. Why should I?
Right.
Why should she? She wasn't his girlfriend.
She didn't owe him a damn thing.
He had no right to demand anything from her, let alone guilt-trip her. He was just used to her always giving. He assumed it was his by default. Ben was right about one thing. Knowing me, if I cared, I would have told him immediately. Like in my past life. Ben Ashford, I ran to you the second I saw that post. I thought that even though you had a girlfriend, even though you ignored my feelings, you'd at least treat me like a friend. I saved your application. I saved your future. You shouldn't have repaid kindness with betrayal. But you were ungrateful. You blamed your psycho girlfriend's suicide on me. You spent years plotting your revenge. And when I was at my weakest, recovering from childbirth, you dragged me to kneel before her photo. You tortured me to death, along with our unborn child. As the hatred washed over me, I regretted everything. Why did I have to be kind? Why did I have to interfere? I should have just watched your life burn down. So this time, I chose to be a spectator. What right did you have to question me? Ben seemed to deflate. All the strength left his body. His face went pale as a corpse. Save finally realized she'd messed up.
She stared at Ben, shocked. Why?
Why are you reacting like this? Didn't you say you loved me? I changed your application. Shouldn't you be grateful? Ben's eyes were bloodshot. He snapped. He lunged at Save, grabbing her. Save, are you happy now that you've ruined me? Is this what you wanted? The shock sent him over the edge. He threw a punch. What was supposed to be a graduation party ended in chaos. Sirens wailed outside the Ashford Club. Save and Ben were both taken to the Willow Creek Police Department for questioning. The rest of us gave our statements and went home. Stepping out of the police station, the evening wind hit my face.
Cold.
I waited by the curb for my ride. My phone buzzed. Kat texted, Scarlett, after you left, Save got beat up pretty bad. An ambulance to Willow Creek General took her to the hospital. I never pegged Ben as having domestic violence tendencies. Thank God I didn't confess to him back then. I could practically see Kat shivering like a scared rabbit. I smirked. I scrolled down. As for Ben, he's probably getting detained for a few days. Deck tried calling the office of undergraduate admissions for him, but it's the weekend. Not sure if anyone answered. They also called Mr. Whitmore to see if there's any way to fix it. Do you think he can still get into Ashford? I didn't reply. Another text popped up. Ben asked me something earlier. He asked when you stopped liking him. I didn't tell him. Honestly, I've been wondering too. Scarlett, when did you stop liking him? I stared at the screen for a long time. When did I stop liking him? In my past life, I liked him until the very end. I thought Save was just a detour in his youth. I thought we'd get back on track at Ashford. Even after we got married and had a kid, I thought that was our destiny. But even as I died on that birthing table, hemorrhaging and alone, I still had feelings for Ben Ashford. Now I know better. Some feelings cost too much. The next day, I debated for a while before buying a bouquet and heading to the hospital. I'd gotten Save's room number from Kat beforehand. I hadn't even pushed the door open yet when I heard voices inside. You came all the way here just to say what? Save sounded awful, but her tone was still infuriatingly flippant. Kat paused. Do you have any idea how much he wanted to get into Ashford? Save bit her lip. I know. So what? Didn't he say he loves me? I just wanted to see if I mattered more than some stupid school. Kat almost laughed out of sheer frustration. Save, you're pathetically naive. Is love the only thing that exists in your world? If you knew how important college was, how could you bring yourself to change his application behind his back? Do you know who Ben was before he met you? Junior year, bed. He had a spontaneous pneumothorax. He was doing practice tests on his hospital. He did 5:40 a.m. vocab drills with Barron's 3500 every single day for 3 years. Do you know why he worked that hard?
His dad died.
His mom is a single parent. She sold the lake house and cashed out her 401k to put him through school. He had no safety net. I know. Save's voice rose. We've been together a year. Of course I know he works hard. A year? Kat let out a cold laugh. Do you know what time he went to sleep every night senior year? Do you know how many nights he couldn't sleep before the exams? How many nights did you stay up with him?
No.
You don't know. Save, you just wasted time. You dragged him to movies and made him skip study hall. Every session he missed, he had to make up later. You think getting into Ashford is easy? He spent years working for it. And you destroyed it with a few clicks. Don't you feel any remorse? Who gave you the right to judge me? Save's eyes turned red. I was with Ben before you even knew him. What right do you have to lecture me? The right of someone who just watched you destroy the thing he wanted most. Save, you're going to be the person he hates most in this life. Just wait. Kat gave her a long, meaningful look and turned to leave. Save let out a sharp laugh. Kat, don't play saint. I know exactly what you're doing. A woman knows another woman's tricks. I saw it the second I looked at you. You like Ben too. You're just putting on a show of concern to prove how much nicer you are than me. You're pleading his case, but he's still my boyfriend. Even if he beat me to a pulp, he's mine, not yours. Save lifted her chin, malice dripping from her eyes. Tell me, what gives you the right to come here and say these things? Classmate, Kat took a deep breath and admitted it openly. Yeah, I liked Ben once. But that was in the past. And it's thanks to you, Save, that I finally saw what kind of man he really is. I used to think he was my ideal. Because he was a top student, I used him as motivation. I studied harder just to get closer to him. But later, I realized I was wrong, Kat sneered. If Ben couldn't appreciate someone as outstanding as Scarlett, it proves he's blind. He certainly wouldn't have wanted me. Save, I have to say, you two are perfect for each other. Cut from the same cloth. I came here today because I felt sorry for the girl I used to be, the one who liked Ben. Kat slammed the door open and froze when she saw me. She didn't say a word. She just turned and walked away. I placed the bouquet quietly by the door and left. Save and I weren't friends. I only came because I saw a girl beaten and hospitalized by the guy she loved. It reminded me of how I died in my last life. Since she still didn't think she was wrong, she could face the consequences alone. Ben, though, was in for a rough time. After a few days in county detention center, he was released. Mom, my life is over. Ben looked like a wreck. Unkempt, gaunt, like he'd lost 20 pounds. His eyes were red. He knelt before Camilla. Save changed my application behind my back. I'm not getting into Ashford. Camilla stood frozen for a long moment. What did you say? When it sank in, she grabbed a silver hairbrush and swung it hard at Ben's back. I told you to stay away from that delinquent. You never listened. I begged Scarlett to tutor you. She helped you for months, without complaint. Is this how you repay us? How dare you kneel here and whine? Why don't you just drop dead? Camilla was beyond furious. The son she loved most was talking about throwing his life away. Overnight, Camilla's hair turned white. I sat on my bed, hugging my knees, listening to the commotion upstairs. My eyes burned, but I couldn't do anything. People have to pay for their choices. I couldn't be reckless like in my past life. I couldn't risk my own life. I couldn't let my parents live in hell because of my temporary kindness. In my past life, I died on that birthing table. My parents' hair turned white overnight, just like Camilla's. Only worse. After Ben's application was switched to land and tech, Camilla cried until she was nearly blind. She was a single mother. She'd poured everything into raising him. She'd sold the lake house and cashed out her 401k. She thought Ben getting into Ashford was a sure thing. Now it was all gone. The nightmare continued until the acceptance letter arrived. Ben had clung to a shred of hope until that envelope from Landon Technical College showed up at Ashford Manor. Camilla fainted on the spot. Ben clutched the acceptance letter and went crazy. He begged the dean of admissions, pleaded with Mr. Whitmore, and implored all our teachers. He begged them to fix it. My application was changed maliciously. It was a mistake. Can I change it back? Everyone shook their heads. There was nothing they could do. Mr. Whitmore was livid, disappointed beyond words. Ben, you were my star student. How could you make such a stupid mistake? I warned every single one of you. Applications are not a game. You wanted Ashford. Why would you joke around and put down a community college? You gambled with your future. Ben kept his head down, silent, tears streaming down his face. He kicked himself. He regretted everything. It's all Save's fault. She ruined me. Ben decided to do a postgraduate year at Willow Creek Preparatory Academy. But Save was left infertile due to the trauma from the assault. And she decided she'd take him down with her. She demanded they get married right after high school graduation. Ben refused. So Save sued him for sexual assault. On the day Save sued him for sexual assault, Ben was sitting in his postgraduate prep class at Willow Creek Preparatory Academy. When the officers from the Willow Creek Police Department showed up, the whole class exploded. He was taken in for questioning and held for 2 days. Due to insufficient evidence, no charges were filed. But the news spread through the entire town of Willow Creek. Everyone was whispering. Ben got some girl pregnant and refused to take responsibility. Nobody believed he was innocent. Save's family showed up at the preparatory academy, demanding he step up. Marry her or pay up. Ben knelt before Camilla, pressing his forehead to the floor. Mom, I never touched her. I swear. Camilla looked at him, her eyes dry, swollen and red. What good is it if I believe you? Does the world believe you? Ben gritted his teeth and went to confront Save. She sat in the living room, holding a heating pad, her face pale. The look she gave him wasn't just hate. It was something else. You came, she said, smiling. It wasn't a smile an 18-year-old should have. I had an abortion. I can't have kids now. Did you really think you could just redo senior year and escape me? If I'm miserable, you're going to be miserable too. Ben clenched his fists, his knuckles turning white. What do you want? Save stood, walked over to him, and tilted her head back to look at him. Marry me. In your dreams. Then wait and see, she said, patting his shoulder. Her face was eerily calm. Ben, don't forget. You're the one who did this to me. My reputation is already ruined. I don't care how much lower I sink.
But you?
You just try studying hard. Let's see which school will dare to accept you. Ben went home and locked himself in his room. He didn't come out for 3 days. Camilla knocked. No answer. Panicked, she called a locksmith. When the door opened, Ben was sitting on the floor. On the table beside him sat a bottle of prescription Ambien, still sealed. Camilla rushed over and hugged him, sobbing uncontrollably. If you die, I won't go on living either. Ben's eyes were red, his voice so hoarse it was almost a whisper. Mom, I can't go on. I heard all of this from Kat. After graduation, I went to Ashford University. I got a new number. Cut ties with everyone from that life. Except Kat. She still messaged me sometimes, mentioning Ben. He's lost so much weight. I saw him on the street the other day and barely recognized him. Save showed up at his house again, demanding $500,000. Camilla sold the house. They moved away. No one knows where. I read every message, but I never knew what to reply. Freshman year, winter break. I went home. Christmas wreaths hung at the gatehouse of Willow Creek Estates. Bright red, festive. Mom was busy in the kitchen. Dad was watching TV. Everything was normal. During dinner, Mom suddenly brought up the Ashfords. You heard Camilla and Ben moved away, right? Yeah. Such a shame. A good kid, ruined like that. Mom sighed, glancing at me with hesitation. Scarlett, I need to ask you something. Tell me the truth. Did you like Ben back in high school? My fork paused. Then I smiled. Mom, that was a long time ago. Mom stared at me for a few seconds. Her eyes suddenly turned red. You were always making him study guides, tutoring him. I saw it all. I wasn't against it. I just felt bad for you, Mom. I put down my fork, looking at her seriously. I'm really good now. Truly. Mom wiped her eyes and nodded, saying nothing more. On December 26th, it snowed. I bundled up in my North Face down jacket to buy bubble tea. Turning the intersection of Maple and Main, Willow Creek, I saw a man. He wore a black Carhartt jacket. His hair was long. His cheeks were sunken. He looked like a tree bent by the wind. Veet genius, it was Ben. He was carrying a DoorDash delivery bag, rushing to make a drop-off. He saw me too.
Froze.
Snow landed on his shoulders, on his eyelashes. He didn't move. I hesitated for a second, nodded in greeting, and kept walking. Scarlet. His voice was raw as he called out. I stopped, hearing his hoarse voice again behind me. Merry Christmas. He said it softly. Something else followed. I'm sorry. I regret everything. The wind carried it away. I didn't catch it. I just paused, then said, Merry Christmas. Then I walked on. Behind me, it was silent. The snow kept falling. I knew he stood there watching me. But so what? In this life, I was just grateful I escaped him. Grateful I didn't repeat the tragedy.
See?
Even when I gave him exactly what he wanted save, they still had no happy ending. So, why blame me in my past life? My phone buzzed. A text from December. Hey Scarlett, is the snow beautiful at Ashford? I smiled. It's beautiful. I pulled up a photo of Ashford University in the snow and sent it to him. Deck was thrilled. I'm doing a PG year too. You're my motivation. I'm coming to Ashford to follow your footsteps. Warmth spread through my chest. I smiled. Good. See you at Ashford Commons. I pocketed my phone, stepping onto the snow, walking forward one step at a time. The snow fell heavier, covering the trail of footprints behind me. Just like the path I'd walked to get here.
Just like the pain of my past life.
Like a dream that never existed.
If someone touches your college application, just report them to the authorities, not the afterlife. Because this whole story is basically, girl tries to stop boyfriend from ruining his future. Universe says, cool, now everyone is emotionally unstable and legally complicated. Ben, I love you, Sav. I'd do anything for you. Okay, change your entire academic destiny then. This was not the vibes I meant. And Scarlett? She said, last life I tried kindness. I died. So this time she chose the sacred art of doing absolutely nothing and watching the chaos like it's Netflix premium. Moral of the story? Love is temporary. College admissions deadlines are forever. And if your girlfriend knows your password, congratulations, you're in a thriller, not a relationship. Also, bonus lesson, if someone says it's just a stupid school, run. Because next thing you know, it's not just a school. It's a 500-page emotional damage report with police involvement and seasonal depression arcs. Anyway, guys, like and subscribe for more romance stories where everyone needs therapy but nobody gets it.